Welcome to my first day of hunting this season. I've got my polo shirt, my brown belt, and brown boots. And today I'm riding this mare named Lass because my husband has our truck and I couldn't trailer Finn up. So we met up and started out, and then we ran into bees. Bees are a huge hazard for us. So we ran away as quickly as we could to get out of the nest.
Oh, God.
And then my horse got stung right there.
I know, honey. Let's get out of here.
So we checked up. I had two horses behind me, and one of the ladies got stung, and she's allergic to bees. So Kate to the rescue with some Benadryl, and then we were ready to go again. And then we got to our first stop and let the hounds rest, and then we walked through a shooting field, which luckily nobody was there. Just kidding. They're never there when we're there. And then we had a bit of a deep, trappy stream crossing. And then we were off again up a steep hill that came out on a golf course, and that's always really pretty to see in the morning. Nobody's out. So we rode through the golf course, and we had a gorgeous view of a ravine. And then the clubhouse is up on the hill. And then we made our way down the hill and jumped a couple of logs, trees that had fallen, and they were little and really fun. This one, my horse took off.
Jeez, Lass. Easy, girl.
But we recovered. And then we had this little log, and then that little Appaloosa pony ran into this tree branch that got stuck in his tail. But they got out of it okay. And then we just had a couple more little fallen trees we got to pop over. And after that, we watered the horses and the hounds. And then we were off again, straight up a hill into the park. And it's really pretty in this clearing. Mm-hmm. And then we went back into the woods through some knee knockers and jumped a couple more trees. And then came out on our next stop and let everybody rest.
Good morning. Hello.
David in the orange is our fox. We're a drag hunt, and he drags the scent for us. But something got crossed up because our hounds had a bit of we didn't know what happened. There's some sort of a commotion, and then we saw a hound run through the woods right next to us. So I think everybody got back together eventually.
Right.
Yeah. And then we did a reverse field and turned around, and we all met back up again, and then there were bees again. So
they're right in here.
Ran
Just go.
out of there, and luckily only one horse got stung this time, so it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
And then we met up with the pack and thanked our masters because we were done for the day. And everybody remained pretty unscathed, a couple stings here and there, but then we turned around and headed back to the farm, and it was a great first day out. Good morning and welcome to today's highlight reel from our fox chase. This is just your daily reminder that we are a drag hunt and not a live fox hunt, which means that we follow an artificially laid scent and not a real fox. So we headed out to our start in my trainer's trailer, and we got there just as the hounds were moving off, crossed a stream, and then came through the clearing to this really gorgeous spooky meadow with the fog. It was so pretty in the sunrise. And then our huntsman made her way around the field with the hounds, and we followed suit. We saw her go this direction with the hounds, and then she was having trouble locating where they had started the drag. And so we decided to not cast the hounds and just walk them up the hill to the first check. So we made our way up through what we call the chute, or the O chute. And it's a little tricky of a ditch crossing. And then I got this beautiful view of a ravine, as we do. And then we had our first checkpoint, and then we were off again after we had rewarded the hounds for doing a good job. And we made our way through some trees. and I had to make sure my camera was clean, which we were all good. And then we picked up the pace a little bit, and then when you see somebody hold their fist up like that, it means to hold, which means to slow down very quickly. And then we did a reverse field, and you can see everybody goes in single file, and then you go in the order that you've been in line. And we made our through these gorgeous purple and yellow wildflowers into this clearing. As you can see, the view is just incredible. And then after that, we came back through the woods and down the hill some more. And then we scrambled over some rocks. It's tricky footing in these forests. And then we made our way through our final stream. It's very beautiful. And then this was our final stop. It was a very quick fox hunt this morning. And that's our huntsman, Lori, and one of our masters, Carol, and Kate and Minky. And then we turned around and headed home, of course, with a little spice from our chestnut mare. And we headed up the road to the trailers.
Coming up. Hang on. Cindy, you've got a spider on you. I'm going to get it. Okay. It's a spider.
And then we loaded the horses up, and Finnegan was so confident and great getting into the trailer, and made sure everybody was all strapped in, and we closed everything up. And then we headed back to our farm and debriefed over some tea. Come along with us for the Swickley Hunt Hunter Pace. We grabbed 2 of our juniors and their horses and all headed up to the start. My team was a team of 3. We were riding second flight. And so we started off, and then we actually met up with a couple groups in front of us, but they let us pass after we crossed the stream and went up the hill, and then we were off. This is our first log of the day. It was really well cleared, and it was super fun to hop over. And then we came up the golf course and jumped a set of 3 jumps here, and they got bigger as we went, which was kind of funny. But they were so much fun to jump, and Finn did a great job. Actually, all of the horses really did, even though both of them were all 3 were pretty green. They did a great job. This one, Finn led over, and then the horse followed behind us. And these jumps were so beautiful. They were clearly a lot of work to get out there. And we ended on this final fence, which was probably close to 2.9. It was a lot of fun to hop over these. And then we rounded to our final farm and got to jump a big coop, which was a lot of fun. And our good friend Justin got some great video footage of us popping over this coop. There's Finn and I with our GoPro. And then it started to rain as we galloped through this beautiful field, and we headed towards our final coop of the day right here. This one's always really fun to jump in a big open field. And then we went back into the woods and over this cute fence. And then we went up the hill and jumped our final log of the day. And then we popped out of the woods and galloped towards the finish line, all in one piece. And then we got to have lunch with the whole crew, and our juniors won first flight, and another set of our farm's juniors won second flight. They were only 1 second off from the optimal time. Now, our team was way too fast, and we got 7th place, but it was a really fun event. Thank you so much to the Swickley Hunt and all the volunteers that made it such a successful hunter pace. We had a great time. My wake-up call today was 6 o'clock, so I got ready and zipped up my shirt, put on my stock tie, and realized I desperately needed a Tattersall vest. So I had to brainstorm and refolded my stock tie so that it would cover my shirt and I would look put together. I'm so excited because cubbing is my favorite, and I had socks that matched my shirt. On my way to the barn now, my breakfast was a Larabar and a handful of walnuts, breakfast of champions. Now it's 7:02, I'm at the barn, Finny is fed, and I'm getting suited up, strapped up, and ready to go. We headed off to the start, and it was a beautiful morning. I ended up doing first flight today, which was a first for Finn and I, and it actually worked out because he was pretty fresh this morning because it was cold. So we started out, we had plenty of energy going through our first drag line, and then we came up this huge hill and up to our first coop. This is Finn and I's first coop of the season, and he popped over it really, really well. And then we ended up in this beautiful field and headed towards our second coop. So this one had just been cleared, and it was beautiful. Had a bit of an off distance to it, but we cleared it with plenty of room to spare. And then we came down a hill and galloped right back up another hill. And by this time, Finn was starting to lose some steam. So I gave him a peppermint and told him what a good job he was doing. Then we came through this really pretty clearing with the hounds, and we were right back at it, picking up the pace on this really beautiful trail. The sun was shining, the footing was fantastic, and all of a sudden we started to hear the hounds vocalize, which I thought was a great thing. Awesome, they picked up the scent line and they're going for it. But then we heard our huntsman start screaming, "No, no, no," and blowing her horn, and we realized that the hounds had gotten off of our drag scent and were rioting and trying to chase something else. But the whole gang got back together actually in record time, and you can see how amazing our whip was today. Just very quick, and even when the hounds tried to get back on, she got them right back into their pack, and we headed and continued down the hill and into the park. It was really fun. There were people out walking their dogs, and we got to walk through the park with our hounds. And then we headed down this hill, and I started to recognize it and realized we were headed towards the chute, or the O chute, especially because we were going downhill. Look how steep this is. Definitely not my favorite, but I have a very trusty steed, and Finn figured it out and got us down really safely. And then we crossed the stream at the bottom of the trail, which opened up into our final gallop to the kill. Look, I mean, come on, this is a movie, right? And it was gorgeous. The temperature was perfect, and the hounds were all together, and we had a very successful hunt. It was a great day and a great start to cubbing season this autumn. We'll see you soon. Cool. Every good fox hunt starts with hydration and breakfast, and here's mine and here's Finn's. And then I got myself ready, strapped on my GoPro, and wanted to take the opportunity to tell you and remind you that this is a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means that we do not chase a real fox. We chase a scent line that has been dragged, and our hounds follow that. And so it makes for a really fun time, and it's very quick. So we got our hounds off the truck and walked over to the start in this beautiful field. We start at 7 a.m., which means we always catch a sunrise and usually a little bit of fog. And I love the view this morning. It was gorgeous, and we went around this side of the meadow and our hounds went around the other side. And then we all went into the forest together and through this beautiful windy creek trail to our first checkpoint. And after we had rewarded our hounds and our horses, we ran this second line through a brand new path for us. We jumped this log going downhill, which was a little bit treacherous, but we all figured it out. This is actually a brand new trail for us, and shout out to our masters for doing some hard work. You'll see right here, they tabletoped this log for us, so it was jumpable for everybody, and they weed whacked and cleared the trails, burned out a bee's nest. It was just like a lot of work was done on this path, and it was really fun to ride through this morning. So thank you guys for your incredible hard work. We're so grateful for you. And then this is a great shot of our last log right by our creek, and I almost fell off there because Finn took off long, but nobody saw it except for you, so thank goodness. And then we came to our third check and couldn't find the bag with the treats for the hounds
right
in
here.
it, but
It's
we spotted it by a tree.
It's back here, Lori.
And then our huntsman took our hounds over there and rewarded them before we tried to track down our next drag line. So we came through a creek and ran up this hill that was pretty narrow and steep, and then at the top of the hill, Lori said,
reverse field. So I had to figure out how to turn around on this this narrow path down a hill, and luckily Finn figured it out and we headed down.
Okay, I'm gonna pull off here so she can go.
So here comes our pack.
Okay.
Aren't they lovely? We were trying to figure out where to start, and so they came back through again. So I got a couple really good shots of our hounds and some of our whips. That's Lauren right there, and Kate and Minky, our buddies. And then we were off, back up the hill. And then we headed through some trees and we're weaving in and out. You always want to be careful taking turns too fast, because sometimes the footing is slick and you definitely don't want your legs to come out from under you. Look at the steam. We were all chugging up that hill. This is our daily reminder to keep your eyes on the path and not on the ravine, because you can die easily. And then we had a hound catch up to the pack, went through the golf course, and at this point the sun was out and it was beautiful. And then we headed down this big hill on the golf course and over a ditch, which can sometimes be a little bit tricky, but there was no carnage today, luckily. And we made it out and came back into the woods and down a big hill and popped out on the road. And then this was our kill, but it wasn't the end of the line, so we went back into the woods and followed the line back up to the true end of the line, and it was amazing. So we finished up that day.
Bye-bye.
Said goodbye to everybody and came back to the farm. And Finn did such a great job, and luckily it was cool enough that he wasn't too sweaty today. So we made it back home in one piece, and after having a lot of fun. Today's hunt was a very interesting one. We started out very early in the morning. Just a reminder, we are a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means that we don't hunt live fox, we hunt a dragged scent line. So we started out at the start right there, went up a road and into the woods, and then trekked up a hill and popped out on the golf course. It was a beautiful morning, wasn't too hot yet, and our hounds caught a whiff of our line right here, and we heard some amazing vocalizations out of them. So the hounds took off and we went right after them and started heading down this hill, and it's a lot of fun because there's a lot of fallen logs on this trail. But it was also a little bit scary because it was going downhill and the footing was kind of deep and kind of slick. So for us as riders, we really have to do a lot of work to get our horses rocked back on their hind ends so that they don't trip or their legs don't get caught up in the footing. But Finn did a great job navigating some slick spots, and everybody cleared the logs and we had a lot of fun. This is my favorite log because it's a little bit bigger, and Finn, clearly it was his too because he really went trucking through that. But I got him rocked back and we came out safe. Then we realized that our hounds had rioted. Now, when the hounds decide to riot, it means that they deviate from our scent line and they decide to chase something else. So our huntsman was doing her very best to get them all back together, but some of the hounds were just bound and determined to chase something else down. And this is where our whips and our ground whips really did an incredible job. Each hound has a tracking collar on it, so they were able to see where they are, and they worked really hard to get the whole pack back together, and we were able to finish our hunt. So we came back into the woods and up a hill, and it was really, really pretty in these woods. This was the end of that line. And then we moved off from there and came to our final line and went back into the woods right there, the whole pack back together again. Then we had this fun log, although my head almost came off with this branch that was trying to take me out. And then we came around the bend, and this view was so stunning with the sun coming through the forest. I mean, come on, that looks like a movie. It was so beautiful. And then we finished up at the kill right here. And at this point, we decided to turn back home, and we headed back to the farm and down the beautiful hill with the sun beaming down, and it started to get much, much hotter. So we were happy to be back home and call it a day.
Bees! Shoot! Bees! Bees! Bees!
You know, when I woke up this morning, not a single part of me thought that I would be running past our huntsman, shouting bees at the top of my lungs. But here we are. Good morning, and welcome to the Battle of the Tattersalls this morning. My cat was involved, but you know, it all worked out, and we did Tattersall and Tattersall, and it pulled together with the jacket, and now I feel like Veronica D'Angelo. Just a reminder that our hunt is a drag hunt, not a live fox hunt, which means that we hunt a dragged artificial scent line and not a live fox. So we started out this morning in the woods, and we actually ended up getting lost trying to track down a hound. I was in first flight this morning, but we got the hound back, and we creatively made our way through the woods. Then we popped out in this field, came through a marsh, and all of our hounds were coming along with us. And then we popped over this really, really cute log. It was nice and clear and a great jump. And then over another little log. Then we opened up to a beautiful big old field, and Finn started crow hopping because he was just a little excited to be in first flight and in a big open field. And then we came to one of our checks by the golf course and made our way around to the big ditch, which we crossed pretty easily. It wasn't too soggy or anything today, and I got some footage of the rest of first flight coming through the ditch too. And then we came across a creek crossing, and I got multiple footage to show you from here. Finn cleared the whole creek and then was very proud of himself and started crow hopping again. It was hilarious. And then one of our first flight gals jumped this really pretty coop. I just had a little too much horse to feel safe doing that. And then we came through the jumping trail and over the first log and over the second tabletop and a little bit of logs right there. Then we lined up, and I got 2 shots of us heading over this cute log. It was really, really fun to watch this back because oftentimes I don't get to see myself riding or anybody else. So that was a pretty cute shot. And then we went to our next check, and then we went up the hill over a couple of logs, which opened into a big field, and this is where absolute pandemonium hit.
Might be bees. Shoot, bees.
Finn took off, and when you run into bees, the best thing you can do is get into tall grass because it gets the bees off of the horse. So we did that, and I eventually found my way back in line, but then second flight hit another ground bee's nest down there, and there were more horses that got stung, and then we came down to the kill here, and this horse in front of us got stung going down to where the kill was. So it was just a wild hunt. So here we are at the kill, and we still had bees following us around. But everybody stayed on, which was a miracle, and all of the horses seemed okay. So we headed back home. It was quite an eventful day, and I'm glad we survived. Today we saw a fox, but before I get into the details, this is a reminder that this is a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means we hunt an artificially dragged scent line and not a real fox. So you might be confused as to what I mean, but just hang on and I'll tell you everything. Our first line was pretty uneventful. We ended up watering the horses here, and there were a couple hounds that we decided to put back in the truck, but the hounds all got really confused, and we ended up releasing 3 of them back out of the truck, and they were so obedient and came right to our huntsman, and it was really, really cool to see how their training kicked in. Then we were off and up a hill, and we rounded the bend around this fallen tree, and there were some bees. And you'll see the horse in front of us got stung, and Finn got stung too, but luckily it was only the 2 of us, and it wasn't very big of a freak out. The horses were fine, and we continued on. So we popped out at the golf course and then came down our log trail, and so here's some footage of us jumping these cute little logs. I was nervous the footing would be slick because it is downhill, but luckily we'd only gotten a little bit of rain, and the footing was actually perfect. It was nice and squishy, but not slick. So we cleared some of these logs, and everybody in line did a very good job, even some of the green horses that are still learning how to jump. They all cleared it just fine. And this was our second to last log, and then this was our last log. No bees through here, thankfully. It was very nice. And then we came to our last check, This hound rolling in the leaves is a whole mood. Honestly, love it. And then we came up our last drag scent line and up a hill. We were cantering. It was so fun. And then absolute magic happened. Listen to this. So as you can hear, our hounds opened up and cried, and we knew that they were on a scent. And we found out soon after that it was actually a training exercise. So lucky you guys, you get to see the inner workings of a drag hunt. Take a look on the right. The guy in the orange is our quote-unquote fox. He's armed with hot dogs, treats, and a scent bottle that has our artificial scent. And he actually emulates a fox and goes into the underbrush and all over the place and sprays that scent for our hounds to pick up. But today, he also had a speaker on him that was playing hound noises, like crying sounds for the hounds. And it caused them to open up and run right onto him. And they were heavily rewarded for their efforts. It was a really cool exercise, and it definitely worked. So thanks to our fox for really putting in some effort. It made for a really successful hunt today. So after that, we headed home, and I put Finn out in the field, and we ended with coffee and apple pie. It was a great day. Good morning, and welcome to today's recap. I polished up my brown boots and got on, and we headed off to the start. Just a reminder, we're a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means we had a dragged artificial scent line and not a real fox. So we started off and ran right into bees, but it only hit our huntsman and one of our masters. So we turned it around and hightailed it out of there. And then we crossed into this beautiful field soaked in golden light. And even though we had avoided the bees the first time, they got us when we came back into the woods.
Oh, bees, bees!
This autumn hunt season should really be titled The Chronicles of the Ground Bees, because they have been so bad this year. But there were some great redeeming factors, like our jump trail. We got to come down over this log and then over this one, which some members of our hunt had actually cleared and tabletopped for us. We've utilized this trail, I think, about 3 or 4 times, maybe more. So it's been a great addition to our territory, and we're really, really thankful to have it. So here's some more footage. And then we came across this stream crossing, and even though we are a drag hunt and we don't hunt any live game, it's no shortage of fun. As you can see, we have lots of really interesting terrain to navigate. One of these being a stream crossing that my horse Finnegan cleared in one leap, but this mare Ducky did a really good job helping me through it. I am riding a different horse today because Finn is recovering from a choking episode, but he's on the mend, and I'll be back on him on Saturday. So we came through this creek crossing and got to have a little canter up the hill. And then we got to pop over our final log of the day, and there was some brilliant riding done by all.
Nicely sat.
After this was our kill, which just signifies the end of the hunt, and it means the hounds get rewarded with hot dogs and treats. We had a lovely time today, and I'm excited to be back in the saddle on Saturday. The theme for today's fox hunt is lost and found. And before I go into the details, this is just a reminder that we are a drag hunt and not a live hunt, which means that we hunt a dragged artificial scent line and not a real fox. So I got myself ready this morning, and we saw some deer on our way to the start, which was on this beautiful hillside. And then we started off, and you'll see one of our masters jump a coop on the left. And then we were in the woods at our first check. We popped out on the road and came back into the woods and hopped over a cute log as we made our way up a very large hill. Once we made it to the top of the hill, we noticed our entire pack of hounds running by us, which is not supposed to happen, but they must have gotten a little confused somewhere and turned around. So as we made our way to the next check, we saw a few more stray hounds trying to find their way back to our huntsmen and the rest of the pack.
Sound right.
But thanks to the help of our mounted whips, ground whips, master, and huntsman, and the walkie-talkies, of course, we got them all back. And here's the whole pack walking past us with our amazing huntsman and master. So then we were off again and straight up a hill. After that, we popped out of this beautiful golden field, and then we headed back into the woods. Now, the other thing that I lost today was a shoe, and I think it happened right here in this very deep mud, but I didn't realize it until later. I also almost lost my knees past that tree and that sign, and then I lost my GoPro camera, as you'll see here. This tree almost took off my whole head, but it definitely took off my camera. Thanks to one of our juniors who was the real hero today and got off her pony to grab the camera. You know, not all heroes wear capes. So she gave my camera back to me, and before I even was able to put it back on my helmet, we jumped a log. So we had to get that, and Finn absolutely launched me over it. So we made our way through some of these little logs, and this path was really fun. It was dry, there were crunchy leaves everywhere, and the light was peeking through the trees. And all of these jumps were very, very fun and little. Shortly after this, we popped out on a road, and that's when I realized we had lost our hind right shoe. So we broke off from the group, and even though we lost a shoe, we found our way back home. During today's autumn fox hunt, I tied the perfect stock tie, which complemented my Tattersall outfit. Just a reminder, we are a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means that we hunt an artificial scent line and not a real fox. We were very late to the start because our trailer got stuck, but we eventually caught up with the rest of the field and got to go through this gorgeous autumn clearing. Sorry, that's my cat, Tato. We said hello to some of our whips on their way through, and then just enjoyed the views of the beautiful trees and the falling leaves in the woods. Then we came through a little field and back into the woods again and over this cute little ditch/log combination. The footing was really nice today, except for after this little pipe, and now my cat is on the countertop. Anyways, we went through the road and then back into the woods and trotted up a hill. After this, we jumped another little log. The footing was perfect today. And then I got some footage of someone jumping a coop, and I almost jumped it and chickened out at the last second. Finn has had 10 days off because he lost a shoe, and I couldn't find a blacksmith for over a week. But we got back just in time to run into bees. When I tell you I really thought the bees were done this season, but nay. They still had some fight left in them. So that was the first nest. Then we hit another nest, and Finn tried to bite a bee off his butt, which heroic effort, but I got it with my hand, and then we ran away. So it was really nice until we hit those bees, but even the end of the hunt ended up being really nice. We hopped over the last little log of the day, and then we came up to the kill, which is not a real kill. It's a fake kill, but it was the end of the hunt nonetheless. It was a lovely day for a hunt, and it was lovely to be back in the saddle again. During our fox hunt today, Finn got stung by a bee. But before I give you the details, just a reminder, this is a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means we hunt a dragged artificial scent line and not a real fox. So we started out in this beautiful morning light, crossed a stream, and here's the instant replay. Check the bottom right-hand corner, and you will see a bee fly right up to his ear and sting him. Now he starts shaking his head, and I didn't see what happened at first.
Oh, bees. I think. Yep, bees.
That just goes to show you that when you see bees, panic ensues. And luckily we got out of there quickly, which I was so thankful for. Finn was still shaking his head though, so I inspected a little bit closer because I wanted to make sure there wasn't anything still like attached to his bridle or anything. But he checked out and we were able to continue on. So we went deeper into the woods and over this cute little log, and the sun was just so pretty. And then as we continued deeper into the woods, my trainer remembered that coming up there might be more bees to the right, so we decided to take a left to avoid them.
You want us to go this way? We're gonna go this way.
That ended up being the right choice because the field hit bees twice, and there were some horses that got stung. I was really glad we didn't get stung again. So we continued through the park, and then we realized...
Oh, shoot.
We were headed towards the chute. So I said my prayers.
Jesus, take the wheel.
And we continued forward.
Now, Finn's green, and there were some other green horses in our field. They did a great job figuring out the footwork down this really steep, narrow path. This is only our second time through the chute going downhill, and it's still really scary. But I'm glad that our horses all figured it out and we came out on the other side just fine. We came through this beautiful field to the kill, which I remind you is not a real kill. It's all theatrics. It just means the end of the hunt, which was a great hunt, even despite the bees. You are in for a treat because today was one of the most beautiful fox hunts I've ever been on. Just a reminder, we're a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means that we hunt an artificially laid scent line and not a real fox. We headed to the start, which was just after sunrise, and I got some beautiful footage of us turning around and trotting through a really pretty field. Then we popped up on a hillside that was soaked in morning light, and we came through another big open field where we let our reins out and let the horses run. They were having a great time, and so were we. And then we came down a little hill and ended up at a pond to water the hounds and rest. And then we were off again, and I captured one of our masters jumping a coop. He was the brave one of the day. And then we came into the woods and hopped over a little log, and then this little bank jump. As you can see, the other side of it has a bit of a drop, but it was just fine. Then we crossed a little stream and had a trot up the hill, and then we came back down and crossed another stream, and we let the horses canter up the other side just to blow off some more steam. The footing was really nice. It was nice and dry, and you can see the leaves are starting to fall, which makes it for a really beautiful ride. Then we came up to the golf course, and I hopped over a little fence here and then got some really pretty footage of us trotting around the bend. We came back into the woods and through this really pretty clearing, and then hopped over another little log. After this, we came through our check and let the hounds rest. And then we hopped over another little log before we crossed our final stream of the day, and we trotted a little bit more in the woods and came to our final checkpoint. At this point, we decided to head back because we were right next to our trailers, and once we loaded and untacked our horses, we ended the morning over some coffee. During today's fox hunt, I spent over 5 hours in the saddle, but before I get into the details, this is a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means that we hunt an artificial scent line and not a real fox. Before we even started, we had a rider fall off, and our horse took off and was loose, so they went off to go find the horse while we continued on in the hunt. The footing was so bad today, and you'll see after I pass a dead possum in a tree that I have 3 very close calls.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
The first was slipping and falling almost down a ravine.
I think I just saw my life flash before my eyes.
The second was actually slipping and almost falling around a corner. And then the third was this ditch. But we continued on, and I got some great clips of our riders that went ahead of us. And then we had this deep, gnarly creek crossing that everybody did really well with. Then we took a break to watch the leaves fall, which is the perfect intro into a montage of hopping over little logs. Wait, this is a big log. I was really proud of us for jumping that. And then we had another little log, and then a little line of little logs. Finn was starting to feel pretty excited about this. And then after this one, we kind of had a bit of a skid landing, and so did the people behind us. It was just a little bit muddy today. We finished up the jumping trail on a medium-sized log, and then we came through our last valley full of small logs, did a reverse field, and then headed towards the kill. And just a reminder to always look out for shoes in deep mud. Then we thought we were done for the day, but I found out that they were still missing the loose horse.
They were wondering if we could help, like, on horseback and try to look for her. Yeah.
So we set off on our second adventure of the day. We went up to the shed where we saw the horse go missing,
And then we looped all the way up to the park.
I don't see anything. I don't see any like hoof prints or anything.
We didn't see any signs of a missing horse. Oh, final little log of the day. And we even ran into some people in the park and told everybody to keep an eye out for the horse. Then we came across another search party. And then we looped back up and met up with our final group that was searching for the horse. We found out a couple hours later that they found the horse and she was okay and returned back to her farm safely. While it was a long day in the saddle, it was a good day, and it ended with my cat and I both shining up our boots. Welcome to the Fox Hunt's opening day. This is the first day of formal season, and just a reminder that we're a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means that we hunt an artificially laid scent line and not a real fox. We started at the stirrup cup, and then we headed off down the driveway and through the first field. It was so pretty. We had a nice big field of riders, and the weather was perfect. We did have to look out for holes, however. Here's a great view of our hounds and one of our whips. Then we came down through this little valley and ran into bees. It was a little chaotic, so I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version. We ended up going around, still getting stung anyways. Finn flew past the rider in front of us, which was not good form on us, which caused the horse behind us to stumble and the rider to take a tumble. She was okay, though. Her horse kept getting stung, though, so we had to get out of there and keep moving forward without running. But I'll tell you what, when your adrenaline's pumping in these situations, it's really hard to know what to do. But everybody did a good job navigating it nonetheless. We came through a beautiful field. I decided to switch into first flight so I could get some more footage of our hounds and our first flight members. And we came up a big hill and then down a little driveway, through the woods, and over our first little log of the day. After this, the trail opened up into a big field, and I got a nice long clip of us taking a nice long gallop. If you've never been able to ride in a fox hunt, here's my point of view. Especially coming through an open field, it was so beautiful. After this, we came onto a road, and we ended up cantering up the road. Finn did not like getting some dirt flung in his face right there. And then we came to our second checkpoint of the day. We rewarded the hounds and came through the golf course where we saw a guy hit a ball. And then we found it.
I think I found his ball.
As you can see, his ball was right in front of us. Don't worry, we didn't step on it. But it's always fun to get to ride through the golf course, and it was really beautiful today. As you can see, the crunchy leaves and our infamous ditch. We all came through the ditch with no problems today. Then we were off again, and we came through some more beautiful leaves. It was the perfect time of year to be out on a horse. The leaves were perfect and the sky was a little bit gray. And pause for some crunchy leaf ASMR. At this point, we realized that we had lost our second flight. For some reason, they hadn't been able to keep up with us, and we couldn't find them. So we came down to the valley to water the horses and the hounds, and then we caught up with second flight, which was great. Then we came up a big hill and had a little bit of a canter. And then we came through a nice stream crossing. Shortly after this, my GoPro strap broke, and I ended up just using my hand to film the rest of this. So I jumped this log one-handed, and then this log, I also jumped one-handed. But shortly after, Finn got really, really tired, and after we watered the hounds and the horses, we decided to retire before the end of the hunt. We had been in the saddle for about 3 hours, so we decided to head home, but it was a beautiful opening day. This is a recap from our fox hunt the other day. Just a reminder, we're a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means that we hunt an artificial scent line and not a real fox. So we started in the park. There were bees swarming around our heads, which was a little scary, but then we made our way straight down this hill and quickly forgot there were bees. It was a little bit steep. Then we came to the bottom of that hill, crossed a stream, and then made our way through a pretty narrow, skinny little path, and then got to canter up a big hill, which was really nice to kind of start to get the jitters out. Then we opened up to a really beautiful gallop, and the leaves were all down, which was really pretty, nice and crunchy, and the footing was so dry in most of the places, so that was also really pleasant. Then we came back through the park and back down another big hill. Some of this footing was a bit deep, but most of it was fine. So you really get a good chance to see the kind of terrain that we encountered. Today was a very hilly day, and we came up this fun path that has some fallen logs on it. Usually we're coming down this path. I have to say I prefer going uphill rather than downhill, so it was very pleasant. And then we came up to our final little log of the day, and then came straight down, crossed another creek, and then we went straight up a hill again. And it was very steep. But this is why you gotta make sure your horses are in good shape to encounter terrain like this. Then we came down our last hill, and at this check we realized we were all pretty exhausted, so we decided to call it a day. And then we headed back to our hunt club and loaded back up in the trailers and headed home. It was a great day out. For this year's Thanksgiving Day fox hunt, I caught a cold, so don't mind my stuffy nose. But just a reminder that I'm a part of a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means that we hunt an artificial scent line that's been dragged through the woods rather than a live fox. So I got suited up this morning with plenty of layers, had a quick breakfast, and buttoned my vest. Today we went for the wool coat and made sure it was as clean as possible before we tacked up and headed off to the start. We got there early and we got to socialize with some of the members of the community that come out to see us off on Thanksgiving morning. Finn was no stranger to the attention, and he loved all the pats that he got, especially from my dad. Then we came through this field and started fairly quickly, and we were off through the woods and down a really steep hill where I realized that the footing was going to be difficult. I'm sure you can hear the panic building in my voice, but we came to the bottom of the valley and trotted next to the creek, and then I got a beautiful shot of our huntsman and our hounds. We had 5.5 couple, which means we had 11 hounds out this morning with us. Then we made our way through the golf course, and I got some footage of people jumping a jump. And then we came up by a lake to water the hounds and past a gorgeous estate and the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, kind of. Then we came through this field. I got some footage of First Flight jumping a coop. Sorry, it was a little far away. I wish I had been closer to the action, but I was too nervous with the footing to be doing any jumps today. Then we came through this gorgeous field, and I got some more footage of First Flight jumping another coop. And then we opened up, trying to stay warm because the sun had hidden behind the clouds at this point. And then we came back through the woods and barreled back up a hill into our next checkpoint, and we let the horses rest. And then we came down through this little valley, and some of the more flexible of us limboed under a vine. And then I crossed a creek, and then you'll see that my favorite question of the day was asked by a neighbor.
Really big ones. Oh, those ones. Foxhounds. American foxhound. Yep.
Definitely thought he was talking about my horse and not the actual hounds in the front of the pack. Speaking of my horse, he decided to spook at a bike.
Chill out, buddy.
In his defense, it did have a blinky light on the front, so it was especially scary. Then we came to the stirrup cup, and then we departed the stirrup cup, trotted down a hill, and had the kill, which was it just means it's the end of the hunt. We don't actually kill anything. Don't tell the hounds that, though, because they just get rewarded with lots of hot dogs and treats. And then I came back home and had Thanksgiving with my family. It was a lovely day out, despite having a cold. Good morning and welcome to today's fox hunt. Just a reminder, we are a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means that we hunt an artificial scent line that has been dragged through our route and not a real fox. We started at a wonderful stirrup cup where Finnegan and my dad just continued their love affair. He loves my dad so much. It's so funny. Then we headed off from there and we started pretty quick and I got my head taken off not once, but almost twice. My poor GoPro. And then we crow hopped down this hill. It was like 28 degrees and Finn was feeling his oats today. Did one stride in between the log line. Now this was actually the scariest log of the day for me because we got stuck like underneath of it and then almost fell down a cliff. Very fun. And then got one of our masters jumping a coop. I almost did it, but I was a little scared. And then we made our way down our jumping path. This is the first log, and then it's followed by a big hill that we tend to just bound down and then come to like a crash ending, as you see here. Luckily, we missed the horse in front of us this time. These are some of my favorite clips. You're going to see some incredible hound work done. I'm in first flight, so I finally got to capture it today. We got a lot of cry out of the hounds, and they just did such a good job. All the whips and our huntsmen. It was so much fun seeing them do their work. And then our huntsman and we followed over this little tabletop. Then we came around to another tabletop log. This is one of my favorite jumping paths. And then we came through another series of little logs. And it was so much fun. Then we came down this bank. You really get a good taste for our terrain. I mean, it's pretty hilly and lots of trees. Then this, we had this nice stream crossing, and then the following clip might be the best clip that I've taken all season. Look at our hounds go. And we were right behind them. We were right across the creek. We got an amazing view of them running this line. We had a lot of vocalizations out of the hounds today, and they were so good. It's so cool to see them opening up and getting right on the scent line. And then you can see our huntsmen in the distance on the road, and we were all together. See our hounds right there running alongside of us. They did so well. And then you'll see how our whips kind of redirect them back to the path of the rest of the pack. Now our whips, they have long whips that are used more as a guide. They don't whip the hounds like a discipline like that. It's more of a guide to show them where they need to go. And then we made our way across the stream under a tree. And then we popped back onto the road and cantered to our next checkpoint, which was in this beautiful field.
Oh, man.
And then we came through our big ditch. And everybody did a good job getting through that. Then we got to canter through the golf course. There's a lot of really nice crunchy leaves on this path. And then I almost got my head taken off again by another low-hanging branch. I guess it's one of the drawbacks of being on a big horse. And here's our beautiful pack. We had 7 couple today, so we had 14 hounds with us. Then we came through this stream to another check, and then we were back into the woods again for our final drag line of the day and our final little log of the day right there. Look how beautiful with the sun coming through the trees like that. It was one of the nicest days out. And we came across this nice stream, and then we took back off up a hill. And this point, we came up on the kill, which is not a real kill, but it just means that the hounds get rewarded for all their hard work for the day, and we get to thank our masters and our whips and our staff.
You. Thanks, Lori.
And after this, we came back home, but it was no shortage of events as one of the riders fell off on our way to the barn. She was okay, though. Her horse just tripped. We almost made it home unscathed.
I hope I think I got
And that was the end of our day. It was a great day out, and we all made it back. And we all had a good laugh about it, too.
I might have gotten it.
Good morning, and welcome to one of the most eventful days that we've had fox hunting this season. Remember that we are a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means that we hunt an artificial scent line that's been dragged through our route and not a real fox. So I got all ready, and we actually marched in the Christmas parade of our local town. And this was Finnegan's first time marching through a Christmas parade. Some of my friends came, and even my family came too, which you'll see in the next clip. And there were a lot of things to look at, but Finn did really, really well. There's a little clip of us walking through the parade. And then right after the parade, we walked to our hunt start, and everybody did such a good job. We were all really proud of our horses for the parade, and then we got to ride off from there. So here's the start. You'll see first flight go off to the left, and then I was in second flight. We went off to the right and cantered up a hill. Then we met up with first flight in a field and took our first break with the hounds. And then we came up through this beautiful gate and over a pile of little logs, which was super, super fun. And then we came down through the mud and hopped over this jump. Finn took off so long. And then over that little log and landed in deep mud, which was not ideal, but we survived. And then we came through this beautiful open field and trotted right next to this pretty pond. And then we popped out on the road and let the horses kind of take off. Because of the parade this morning, our hunt was very short, and we ended it in that field. And then we came back to the trailers and loaded up. Finn had a buddy, which was really nice. We just moved barns, and so we got to ride with one of our friends. So Finn had a buddy. And then I got back in my truck, and we headed back to the barn, and it was such a nice day. The boys did so good in the trailer. Then Finn came out, and he's still getting used to his surroundings, so he's still very excited. So I took him back to his stall and untacked him and cooled him off and everything. And then I came home and had a snack. I had some cottage cheese, and then my cat Tato got into it. Apparently he really likes cottage cheese. Then we transformed into our evening look because we had our Christmas ball tonight for the fox hunt, and it was at this beautiful country club. And our hunt ball is basically an opportunity for us to thank all of the members of our community and our landowners and just celebrate the season. The dinner was fantastic, and my date was very handsome. And then we ended the night on lots of dancing, which was a great way to end the long day out. Good morning, and welcome to today's fox hunt. Just a reminder that we are a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means that we hunt an artificial scent line that has been dragged rather than a real fox. After tacking Finn up and hitching a ride, we hacked over to the start where we unloaded the hounds and then made our way up our first drag line. It was over this hill and over this cute little log, and then opened up into a big field, which we were able to run up. And then after that, we kind of tiptoed our way down the other side of that big hill. Now, today the weather was in the low 30s, which meant for frisky horses. Finn was not the only one that was feeling his oats today, and as you see, as this hunt progresses, I increasingly have my hands more full. We trotted down this road, came to a check, and then made our way over two really tricky ditch crossings. This first one was pretty slick on the other side, and Finn slipped and then tossed his head and gave me some back talk. He was not happy about that slick landing. And then we came to our second ditch, which was a little bit steeper, I'd say. Ditches are a great thing to practice if your horse is not familiar with fox hunting terrain, just because they can seem pretty intimidating to most horses. Finn has definitely grown in his confidence with ditches, which makes it for a very fun ride for me. After this, we came down a road and said hello to some of our whips, and then we were instructed to spread out in this open field so we wouldn't tear up the grass. But unfortunately, when you mix a large field with a fresh horse, it makes for a very eventful and fun ride. You'll see that Finn decided that he was going to win this race that he thought was happening. But I was able to regain some more control once we got back into the woods. After that, we made our way over some little logs, which Finn jumped like they were big logs. And then we waited our turn to jump a cute little coop. These jumps were super fun, and going uphill is definitely easier than going downhill, especially when the footing is a little bit on the muddy side. Then I got this really beautiful shot of our huntsmen and our hounds, and then we made our way to a large field where I got probably my favorite shot of the day because I got to see some hound work. Our hounds have been opening up and vocalizing even more as the season has gone on, which some of us were talking about has been so much fun to see. This is one of my favorite fields to ride through. It's so beautiful. Then we came up our last big hill of the day and made our way down to the kill, which I remind you doesn't mean that we actually kill anything. It's just the end of the hunt. We give the hounds lots of hot dogs and thank all of our masters and staff. Then we made our way back to the trailers, and my frozen feet hit the ground and definitely stung a little bit when I landed. And then we loaded back up in the trailers and headed back home. Despite having a fresh horse and it being cold, we had a lovely day out, and I'm looking forward to the weekend full of more festivities. Good morning and welcome to today's fox hunt. Just a reminder, we're a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means that we follow a dragged artificial scent line rather than a real fox. So we hacked to the meat, and then we watched the hounds get right on the line. I was in first flight today, and so I got a lot of great hound work footage and lots of fast pace. We started in this beautiful open field with some of our whips, and then we made our way up the chute, or the O-chute, as I fondly call it, because it is some tricky riding. Just so you can see it, it's a very narrow chute right up this very steep hill. It's tough to navigate, but it's harder downhill than it is uphill, so I was thankful for that. This next clip is just funny.
I'm crying.
Now the next song is a song that I sing when I'm feeling especially nervous.
Don't fall down the cliff. Don't fall down the cliff. Okay, good boy.
We never want to fall down the cliff. And then we came by this beautiful stream and came through it. It was so nice to trot through this. And, you know, we did have some pretty boggy footing today, but it didn't stop us from jumping some little logs. And then back through another stream. And then we were off and over another little log. You can see the footing was pretty muddy and deep, so most of my ride was trying to navigate not losing a shoe. And then another little log. And then we came right back up another hill and had to navigate our way underneath some tree branches. We popped out on the golf course and had a nice little canter. And then we were over another log and back into the woods. Here's another fun little log. We had lots of fun little logs today. And then I almost got my head taken off. and then another fun little log. Finn did a great job in first flight today. I was very proud of him. And then we came to a check, and then back into the woods and through another stream. I love these stream crossings. They're so fun. And then some very deep, boggy mud that almost unsat the rider in front of me, so I decided to take a detour, which actually somehow might have been worse.
Whoa. Oh, God. Open.
Then after almost running into a tree, we finally were in the clear and came up our last big hill and over this fun little log. Then one of our whips with some sharp riding. And then we came down close to the end, hopped over our final little log of the day and crossed our last stream. And then this is the kill. It was right by our kennels, which I remind you is not a real kill, just means the end of the hunt and the hounds get hot dogs. It was a great day despite the mud. Good morning and welcome to today's fox hunt, which I remind you is a drag hunt, not a live hunt, which means that we follow a dragged artificial scent line and not a real fox. Today I'm sporting my new buttons and my brand new colors. This was at the meet where there was a donkey that Finn was convinced was trying to eat him. Not a fan of donkeys. Then we started over this fun little log. The day was perfect. It was beautiful, like 50 degrees and sunny. And then we made our way into the woods, picked up a trot, came down a hill where we almost Tokyo drifted down a cliff. Terrifying. Very, very trippy. There's a lot of rocks under these leaves that are hard to see. And then we came over 2 more fun little logs and a bog, which was not so fun. Then we crossed this double stream. And then we went to our check and we jumped this fun little log right after that. Then after this, we found a dead beaver in the middle of a creek, which was weird. I don't think I've ever seen a wild beaver before. Then we watched our kneecaps as we wrapped around these trees. Then Finn grabbed a snack.
You got a stick on your mouth, buddy. Buddy, don't eat that stick.
Then sometime before the stream crossing, we lost the stick, which was great. And then we came through this beautiful field, which is iconic for our hunt because it has this old historic log cabin on it. It is so beautiful to come up on. And then I got some great footage of our hounds getting on the next drag line. And you'll see our master right there on the gray horse. Or, sorry, not our master, our huntsman's on the gray horse, then our master's on the big bay, and we have one of our whips on the cute chestnut. And then my first flight leader is on the black horse in front of me. So it was fun being in first flight because we're right up by the hounds. Then Finny and I tripped going down this hill, and then we had another hill and a ditch crossing that the 2 riders in front of me navigated really well. I took it at an absolutely horrific angle, slipped around the turn, and then somehow recovered before hopping over that little log. Our next ditch was a much more successful navigation on my part. And then we came up this hill and over another fun little log, and then cantered up a hill where I almost lost my camera on a tree branch. It's okay. It stayed on, and that's all that matters. And then we cantered down this hill into the park, and we eventually looped around the park, came back up this fun bank, and then we were back into the woods. Now, this next segment was basically a pole bending class as we were navigating around the trees again. And then I kept this clip nice and long because it is so special galloping through this field. We're coming up on the kill at the very end, which I'll show you, but just enjoy the sounds of the hoofbeats. Then we made our way up to the kill, which I remind you is not a real kill. It just means the end of the hunt. And you'll see our fox, who's dressed in orange, and he has his scent bottle with him, and he's rewarding the hounds with lots of treats and tons of attention because they did great.
So fun to end on that.
Then I came back home and got unready. I wore my air vest under my jacket today. and that seemed to do really, really well. And it was a lovely day out hunting, and I'm excited to go back out this upcoming week. It was a lovely day out, even despite the horse-eating donkeys.